Okay, guys, since we started the Destination Marketing Podcast a little over a year ago, I've had several destinations reach out and say, hey, could you help me start a podcast? And at first we were kind of like, well, no, that's not really what we do. But after enough requests, we said, you know what, let's explore this. And we've created a turnkey program for destinations where we will produce, we will host, we will edit, and we will publish your podcast for your destination on a weekly, bi-weekly, or monthly basis. And all you have to do is show up and answer some questions. We're really excited about this program. We've got a few destinations that have been doing really, really well with their podcast. And if you've ever thought about creating a podcast for your destination, but you don't have all the equipment, or you don't have the expertise or any of that type of stuff, let us take that off your hands. Let Relic handle your podcast creation and production, and all you have to do is show up and answer questions about all the amazing things there are to do within your destination. So let me know if you're interested. Email me at adam@relicagency.com, and we'll get you set up on this podcast program. Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Destination Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Adam Stoker. I'm excited to be with you today. A reminder for everyone, I am on the road again this week. Last week we were in Tennessee, and now we are in northern Alabama. We've got a great group here today to talk to. We've got 3 guests on the show. I'll start by introducing Melea Hames. Melea.
Hello.
And tell us who you are and what your role is.
Okay, I'm Melea Hames, and I'm the social media manager for Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association.
Awesome. Thanks, Melea. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
And then let's have Beth introduce yourself.
Hey there, I am Beth Ridgeway. I am the social media specialist at the Huntsville Madison County Convention and Visitors Center.
Perfect.
Yeah, Bureau, I should say. But we have a long name. You could just call us Visit Huntsville. We're working towards that right now.
Great. Okay, and last but not least, Maryanne.
Hey, I'm Maryanne Floyd, and I'm the communications director for Decatur Morgan County Tourism.
Awesome. And Maryanne, I'm going to ask you a quick follow-up question because we are in one of the coolest places here. This is, in fact, tell me the correct name of the museum because I don't want to get it wrong.
We are at the Cook Museum of Natural Science today.
The Cook Museum of Natural Science. And when Maryanne was telling me the story of how this museum came to be, I was like, we got to get this on the show. So Maryanne, tell me about the background of this museum.
Well, it's a really cool story. Actually, I was telling our friend here from Utah that the Cook family actually started what is now the largest pest control company in the Southeast. So Cook's Pest Control. The museum was originally just a unique collection of things that they found in homes, and then it just grew and grew and grew. And now it's this beautiful multi-million-dollar facility, and it's just absolutely state of the art.
I love it because it started with just your standard run-of-the-mill bug collection that any kid would have, right? And then ended up in an amazing museum. That's pretty awesome. Well, I want to have somebody from the museum come on a little bit later and maybe give us a few more details on the museum. But until then, let's have a conversation about you guys and your destinations. But first, I'm going to ask you some important questions, okay? We're going to start with Maryanne and work our way back this time to Melea. So Maryanne, I'd love to know if you could go anywhere in the world, where would it be?
If I could go anywhere in the world, I would want to go to Paris, France. That's always been like my number one destination. You can ask my husband. I talk about it all the time. But that would definitely be my number one anywhere in the world bucket list place.
And why Paris? What is there something there specifically you want to see, or is it just the aura of Paris? What is it?
Yes, definitely the aura. Just, the stories, the romance. It just seems so magical. I would just really love to experience it.
Awesome. Okay, let's have Beth.
Okay, so I think I have so many places that I'd love to travel, but my next trip that I'm hoping to plan is Scotland, and going to see the cows, the hairy cows in Scotland, Highland cows, I think they're called, and the whiskey. Also the beautiful scenery.
The cows and the whiskey. What more could you need on a vacation?
Okay, don't judge me because I'm from Alabama, but I just think the accents and the scenery and then the cows and the whiskey add in.
Awesome. How about you, Melea?
I would go to Greece because of all the pictures that I see, just the blues, the greens, the whites. I mean, it's so beautiful. So
Okay.
beautiful.
Greece has been a popular answer on the show.
I know. When I listened to some of those podcasts, I thought, oh my gosh, I'll have the same answer, but I got to stick with Greece.
Hey, that just speaks to the appeal of the destination, right?
Right.
Well, we're going to stick with you, Melea, and I got to know your favorite trip you've ever been on.
It would have to be when I was a kid. I was 12 years old, and my family and I had a travel trailer, and we took that thing all across the West Coast. We went to Mount Rushmore. We saw the Corn Palace in South Dakota. So if there's anybody in South Dakota, I've been to the Corn Palace. We didn't make it as far as Yellowstone, but that was always one of our places to go back to. But we just made a whole big loop out west, and it was so much fun.
How old were you?
I was 12.
12. Okay. See, I'm a dad. I've got 4 kids, and we go on these trips, and it's like, don't do that. Stop it. And I'm like, are they remembering anything good about this trip at all? So I'm glad that you were 12, so you're a little bit older. I'm sure you weren't getting the same as my 3 and 5-year-old. 6. She just turned 6. But it's good to hear you've got good memories from a family trip where you went across the country.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we saw a lot of buffalo, and I've got pictures I was looking at the other day where my brother and I were feeding. We were feeding something out, like a bag of chips. We had a bag of chips, or maybe it was a donkey. Maybe we didn't get close enough to a buffalo. Maybe
I hope it wasn't a bear.
Yeah, it definitely was not a bear. But I was looking at that picture and I thought, that is hysterical that we're feeding this donkey or whatever out of a bag of chips.
Isn't it funny what sticks out for kids when they go on those trips? That's fun. That's encouraging for a father to hear.
Yeah, they'll remember.
Good. Okay, Beth.
So one of my favorite trips was we went to this place called Blue Ridge, Georgia. And
I've heard about Blue Ridge. I've never been there.
It was this magical little town. Think of Gatlinburg as far as cabins and the scenery and hiking trails, but without all the hustle and bustle.
Okay.
And it had this beautiful downtown, and we just walked around. They had in a nearby city called Ellijay, they had an apple festival. I am obsessed with apple slushies. They are one of my favorite drinks in the fall, and so that is the entire reason we went to Blue Ridge, Georgia. And I found out that they had this beautiful little drive-in, and it was just so quaint, and the scenery was gorgeous because it was in the Blue Ridge Mountains. So it was just a really nice, relaxing vacation. And we found out I was pregnant with my child there. So it was kind of like a exciting little thing.
That would stand out.
Yeah, we were just like, can't get in the hot tub, but that's okay.
That's great. Well, so if we ever find out about an apple slushy festival in Huntsville, we're going to know exactly where that came
Yes,
from.
I will be planning it myself, or I will be buying all the tickets.
Okay, nice. How about you, Maryanne?
My favorite trip that I've ever been on is probably last year. A few of my good friends and I, we took a trip to New England, and we did Salem, Massachusetts, we did Boston, we did Portland, Maine, and it was just so much fun. It was very magical.
So what was it about that trip? Was it the being with friends and getting away from everything, or was it the activities? What was it?
Well, I think it was probably a combination of all of those things. My friends and I, these are actually 2 of my best friends from high school that went with me, and we just love Halloween. That's like our thing. That's our holiday.
Nice.
So Salem was like heaven for us. It was
Did
amazing.
you go at Halloween time?
We didn't. We went during the summer, but we always heard, if you do plan to go, maybe do try to go in the off season because you're able to really experience the destination a little bit more than you would be when it's so crowded.
Yeah.
So I think it was a good choice. It felt like Halloween. So
Awesome. Well, good stuff. You guys you're all in the destination marketing industry. In fact, each of you is focused on social media specifically. So that's kind of where I want to drive today's conversation. But Melea, I'm wondering if you can just kind of give us the structure of how your organizations work together, you being at North Alabama and these guys being at Decatur and Huntsville.
Okay. Well, like I mentioned, I work at Alabama Mountain Lakes Tourist Association, and we promote the 16 North Alabama counties. So we've got a pretty big region. And so Maryanne being at Decatur and Beth being at Huntsville, they're kind of, I guess, under our umbrella. And so we work together. It's like we're on the same team, just in little different locations. So we're all trying to promote one another and get people to come to North Alabama.
And for you, you've got 16 counties to take care of, and then
Yes.
These guys are each focused on one specific area. So it's critical that you guys work together and keep that communication going, right?
Absolutely.
So, Maryanne and Beth, tell me what it's like to work with the Visit North Alabama.
Well, I just think that Visit North Alabama is an incredible organization. They are membership-based, but they go above and beyond for their members. Everything that they do for us, you can't put a dollar value on that. Melea does a phenomenal job sharing our content, making sure all of our events are, promoted, and I know Beth can kind of speak on that too. They do a great job of promoting North Alabama as a whole, because really what's good for North Alabama is good for each individual county. So.
Yeah, I'm going to respond to you real quick on that, because I love that there is an organization like Visit North Alabama, because nobody ever books a trip based on the county lines. Mm-hmm. So the visitors would like to understand what the whole North Alabama experience is. They don't necessarily care, where is the line between Decatur and Huntsville, because, boy, I'm not crossing that county line if there's a good experience over there, So I love that you guys are doing that, the teaming up and using Visit North Alabama. How about you, Beth?
Yeah, I think one of the biggest things that I get out of my friendships with Melea and Maryanne is just someone to talk to and bounce ideas off of. A rising tide lifts all boats, right? So if everyone is doing well and we're all trying to work to pull people in, again, people don't book based on, really what we care about is where they spend the night.
Yeah.
But you can go anywhere you want during the day. But the nicest thing is they will get with us and they will talk to us about, hey, here's some of our plans, or if we have some influencers that are coming in and maybe we have a content creator that we can't quite afford, but we want to say, hey, would you mind extending your trip 2 days and looking at the rest of North Alabama? Then they can help us with those costs or any programs that they may have that we do not, as far as like social media tools or things like that. That is perfect.
I love that. I wish that everyone listening could have seen what led to that click that she made with her
chef's
tongue.
Kiss.
That's right, chef's kiss. It was great. So I'd like to have each of you. I flew into Huntsville, and it was about a 17-mile drive to Decatur. So I've got that dialed in pretty good. But tell me a little bit about what each of your destinations has to offer individually, and we'll stay with you first, Beth.
So Huntsville is known as a rocket city. The biggest claim to fame that we have is we're home to Space Camp and the home of the U.S. Space and Rocket Center. One of our other things that we are really pushing right now is our outdoors. We are just minutes from the mountains. So when you come to downtown Huntsville, you can literally be on a hiking trail within 10 minutes from driving from downtown Huntsville. It's incredible, and it's one of our selling points that we're really trying to work on during COVID and this crazy time that we are in. But one of the things that I think kind of sets us apart is that we are creative. You can't get to space without having a little ingenuity, and we have a people full of engineers, so we have beer, art, and rockets. What more do you need?
Beer, art, and rockets. And boy, that fits pretty close to what you mentioned was your desirable traits for your dream destination. Just no cows, I guess. But maybe dining fits that.
I will tell you, we have a special cow named Lily Flag. She was the most produced buttermilk, and we still have her in a cemetery stroll. And there's a beer called Lily Flag Milk Stout.
Of course there is.
Yeah,
of
sorry.
course there is.
Cows and I are BFFs.
I love it. Okay, how about you, Maryanne? Do you have any special cows in Decatur that we need to be aware
I actually
of?
own cows myself. But that's another story for another podcast. Well, Decatur, I am actually not a Decatur native. I moved to Decatur from the Shoals area a couple of years ago, not really knowing what to expect, having been offered this job. And let me just say that I have absolutely fallen in love with this area. There's so much culture, there's so much art, there's so many things to do. We have a lot of Civil War history. We have wonderful museums like the Cook Museum of Natural Science, the Morgan County Archives. We also have the Wheeler National Wildlife Refuge, which is absolutely wonderful. We're known a lot for our kayaking, canoeing, lots of things to do as far as outdoor adventures go. But the one thing I will say that I feel personally sets Decatur apart is the people. Everyone is just so friendly and welcoming, and it's just been such a positive experience coming here. So I can only imagine, how a visitor must see, this destination kind of through their eyes. Also, the food. Let me just say that we
we'll
are
have
barbecue
to do some
people.
research into that.
Yeah.
The food is phenomenal. Yeah. Big Bob Gibson's barbecue is like world famous and absolutely delicious, and they are the creators of the Alabama white sauce. So doesn't get better than that.
So everybody, I will let you know after lunch today how Big Bob's was, okay? I like it. Thanks, Maryanne. So I hear that there's some really valuable attractions in both of your destinations, a lot of appeal for a visitor. You're so close to each other. I got to imagine there's a lot of visitor crossover for you guys. People want to see rockets one day, but maybe go eat in Decatur or whatever, right? There's a lot of different crossover. So Melea, I guess this brings it back to you as you're looking at the visitor experience for North Alabama as a whole. How do you promote certain attractions or destinations while giving love to everybody that wants a part of your promotion?
Well, it is a bit of a challenge to, with 16 counties. But one thing that I like to do, and that I did at the beginning of the quarantine that we were under, is creating road trips. And so I created some when business returns to usual road trips, and I divided our region up into 4 separate regions. And so I included, those fun things to do in, so like the north area included Decatur and Huntsville and Athens area. And so I just created a little road trip, people could drive and come and they could see and they could do all the things in each little region within our region.
Yeah, let me ask you a follow-up on that because I think that's really interesting. So these were forward-looking
Yes.
road trip. So when things open back up, here's some cool things you can do. So I love that you did that. One, because it was a great way to promote your destination without saying come visit right now, which a lot of people, there were some tone deaf destinations, and then there were some destinations that just didn't do anything, right? And so I love that you created these road trips, and it's not like that content becomes it's not like it's no longer relevant when things come back, because now people can actually action on that. So it's content that's also going to be valuable for a long time. So I love the strategy. How did you guys come up with the strategy to do those road trips promoting your 4 different regions?
The one thing that I felt like people needed was hope during that time. And I get kind of choked up when I say that because, I saw a lot of my friends struggling and family members struggling and people just wanting to get out of the house and go somewhere. And I thought, what better way just to offer some hope of, hey, when things get back to normal, not if, but when they do, these are some things like we're ready for you to come. We've got the trips ready. All you have to do is just go.
I love that. And what a great example of leadership, too, because sitting back and being negative, oh crap, when's this going to be over? Like, nobody gets excited about that, right? And so being proactive and creating those experiences, and it's great content, Great social content. How about you guys? As you went through the beginning of the pandemic to what I feel like we're kind of now in the middle of the pandemic, and who knows how long the middle is going to be, but I think that's where we are now. How have you guys worked together and shared ideas, especially during this time?
Yeah, so when Melea created those road trips, we definitely shared that out. And I will say I was inspired by that to create a driving tour almost of Huntsville and share out those destinations, because we have some beautiful little country roads out in the county. And so we got with some of our CVB employees and we said, hey, where do you like to go drive? What's a pretty drive you like to take? Because we knew people, we were told to stay in the house, but if you're in a car, you're not going to be with anyone else. So we said, go ahead and go drive around, get out and see some of your area. And then, from the beginning, we offered, hey, here's how you support your hospitality industry. And now that we're in the middle, we are kind of following the U.S. Travel has the Let's Go There Soon campaign. So we are encouraging people to make plans and say, if you can't come here now, we totally understand. But hey, let's make a plan, because you feel better when you start planning things out.
So this is an important point for me, and that's collaboration, right? And had you and Melea not worked together on those road trips, who knows if you would have been inspired to create this driving tour, right, of Huntsville. And this is where I think a lot of people get it wrong in the destination marketing industry, because the first instinct is, that's my competitor. And you and Melea have a unique dynamic, right? But a lot of people are hesitant to share ideas because you're competing for visitors, right? And even Melea sometimes, because she has 16 counties to take care of, if you share ideas, there's a possibility that another county could benefit from that idea. But that is such a short-sighted vision of collaboration, right? And because you guys were sharing ideas, you were inspired to create additional content. And that's where we're kind of riffing and coming up with new things that everybody benefits from. And I feel like as a destination, if you're listening, if you don't have that person that you can collaborate with, if you haven't built that relationship, start introducing yourselves to these other destinations around you and figure out ways to collaborate, because I promise everybody does better when that happens. Maryanne, how about you?
Well, one thing that we've started that I'm really proud of, that, not necessarily kind of going off of the road trips, but definitely conversations with people like Melea and Beth in the industry really did inspire us to get creative during COVID. And one of the things that we started doing is a virtual event series called MoCo Cares. So Decatur is actually part of Morgan County. We represent all of Morgan County as a tourist destination. So by doing this virtual event series, we, highlight different businesses and attractions on Facebook Live that are really going above and beyond during COVID in kind of partnership with the Alabama Travel Association. Hey, you might not be able to get out right now, but in the future, here are all these things that you can look forward to. But in the meantime, have fun watching from your couch. So we're really proud of that.
Yeah, that's good stuff. I saw a lot of really interesting community pride campaigns during COVID. And one of the things, and I'm going to ask you a follow-up question here, Maryanne, that I feel like CVBs and DMOs have benefited from during this time is they've had no choice but to build their relationships stronger with their stakeholders, right? Like sometimes it's adversarial when it's like, oh, I'm not getting enough love as this hotel over here, or the restaurant, I haven't popped up on your Instagram in forever, right? But those relationships had to be strengthened when COVID hit, because everybody needed everybody, So tell me, Maryanne, how you feel like that campaign strengthened your relationship with your stakeholders.
Well, I will say in Decatur and Morgan County specifically, since we are kind of a smaller destination, we already have an incredible relationship with our stakeholders. However, during COVID, it's been very eye-opening, because we've been able to not only do, videos like this for hotels, but we've done it for restaurants, attractions, small businesses, you name it. I mean, we've probably done it. So it's just been a great experience. And it's really helped us, kind of be on a more personal first name basis with a lot of our stakeholders. It's just overall, it's been a really great learning experience, and we're looking forward to, even after, COVID, just continuing this sort of relationship and things like this that, people who are still skeptical might be able to just either plan for the future or watch from home. So.
Great. Thank you. Melea, how do you feel like social media strategy, interaction, engagement, how has that changed for you during COVID?
Well, of course, when all this hit and, things were starting to close down, I'm sure every social media manager was like, oh my gosh, what do I do? And so the first thing that I did in the very beginning was to encourage people. We were still able to get outdoors as long as we were being socially distant, was to encourage people to get outdoors. And so I created some videos and made it a contest where people could guess where I was. And of course, engagement was, I've never seen numbers like I saw in March and in April. So you knew that people were definitely on social media even more than they already were. And so you knew then that, hey, you got to put some content out there that's really going to keep people interested and engaged and keep coming back for more. And
did you two see that as well, more engagement during COVID?
Oh, for sure. I think one of the things that we did is we contracted out for a video because, like Melea said, people felt just trapped. There's nothing we can really do. We're sitting at home. There's this disease you can't see that is definitely ravaging the country right now and our neighbors. And so what can we do to kind of help with that? And so we did a Hope Is Not Canceled video where we just kind of showed some shots of the country.
Okay, I love that. Where did that line come from? Did you guys brainstorm that as a team, or?
So that came from a yard sign. One of the things that people came out and did is they put Hope Is Not Canceled. And the little yard signs where people would come and stick happy birthday in the yards, they really kind of blew up. And so we saw one on the side and it said Hope Is Not Canceled, and that just, it inspired an idea in us. And that was something that we realized people are looking to us for hope, and we usually are talking to people outside of our destination. We are normally asking people to come see us, but at this point we are talking to our people who live here, and we say, hey, everything's going to be okay. We're just going to get through this together. Mm-hmm.
So this is the unique role that I think our destination marketing organizations have within a community, because there are probably more businesses that depend on a DMO than maybe any other organization within almost any city, unless you get into like these big industrial towns and stuff like that. But we have a responsibility in the destination marketing organization to help as many of these businesses as possible make it through a crisis like this. And that's why I love the Hope Is Not Canceled message, because it is an inspiring message. I'd love to share that video on so we have a LinkedIn group called Destination Marketers. We also have a Slack channel called Destination Marketers. We usually share the tangible content from the show in those places. I'd love to share that video there if you don't mind.
For sure.
You're good. So, Maryanne, tell me about maybe a tactic or an opportunity that you saw appear on social media as you've navigated COVID.
That's a great question. I think adapting to this new normal, especially as a social media person, has been quite the interesting journey. One thing that I've seen in particular is that people are just really interested in outdoor adventures right now. So that's one thing that we've really tried to capitalize on. And luckily we have a lot of wonderful outdoor adventures. So we've really been promoting a lot of those outdoor destinations. Hey, you can have a picnic here, you can go for a hike here, you can see, a waterfall here, you can go kayaking. Like there's just so many things to do outside. So that's one thing that we've really tried to push throughout COVID, is just to get outside.
So not necessarily like a specific tactic, more the engagement is much higher on these outdoor adventure related posts.
Oh, absolutely. People are really interested in what they can do now. Because like Beth was saying, people they feel trapped, and it's a very difficult time, especially you never know what someone is going through or what they're struggling with. So we just try to provide content to, our followers, just, hey, this is what you can look forward to. This is what you can do now. This is what's safe. And just giving people that hope, that glimmer of light, at the end of the tunnel of what they can do.
Awesome. Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, I'd like to chat a little bit more with our friends here at the museum, and then I want to dive back into our strategic social media conversation. Sound good?
Sounds good.
Today's episode is brought to you by Relic. As many of you know, I own an advertising agency called Relic, and we work specifically with tourism destinations. If there's any of you that are struggling with what to do next, or you've tried agencies that don't specialize in tourism, or if you've been using the local flavor for years and years and you're just looking for something new, I would say give us a call. Give us the opportunity to take a look at your plans, see what you're doing. Use our tourism knowledge and industry specialty to examine everything from your brand to your tactical execution and make recommendations of how to help. We'll do that assessment for free. We'll give you those recommendations for free. And if you like what we say, maybe you can hire us to execute on those plans. So kind of a risk-free opportunity to have us take a holistic look at everything you're doing, provide some recommendations, and you can kind of see us in action. If you're interested in having us do something like that, please send me an email directly at adam@relicagency.com. I would love to set that up with my team. Okay, everybody, we are back with Cara Long from the Cook Museum, and excited to chat a little bit more about this museum. We got the intro story about how it started with this basically a bug collection, right? And now it's this amazing museum. Tell me a little bit more.
Well, we are, I think, an amazing museum. It is a wonderful place, and a lot of people, local people who visited that original museum when they were kids, they loved it, and they still have that in their mind, and that's what they think it is this adorable, small collection with a lot of great material and a great place to learn, but that's what they think about. And then they walk in our doors now, and they see this 62,000 square foot facility, and that's a big difference from what we used to be. And so we really put a lot of thought into, what we want to say to the public and how we want to educate people about the natural world around us. And so you really are exploring that world. You're going down our biome trail. You're going into the Arctic. You're going into oceans. You're going into a cave. I have kids look at me and they say, "How did you get a cave here?" Because it looks like a real cave. And so I think we did a really great job to do that and to educate not only our community and the people around us, but hopefully to bring people to North Alabama to visit this great museum.
Awesome. So this is the Destination Marketing Podcast. Mm-hmm. And so the people listening are destinations, many of which have a museum within their destination or several,
Great.
Right?
Yeah.
So I guess from that perspective, I want to talk a little bit about, I feel like you guys came up with a really immersive experience here, right? And destinations are responsible for the comprehensive experience of their destination, and then you're focused on kind of a micro experience of their time here in the destination. So how did you guys look at and listen to the customer to figure out what that ideal customer experience should be?
Well, it did come from our customer because, like I said, the years of the Cook's Natural Science Museum being so popular here in North Alabama. As I said, people saying that they did all their school trips here, that they came and brought their family to our museum. And a lot of it was that just the love of the natural world around us that John Cook Sr. had, and honoring his memory and honoring what he wanted to educate people about. And so our board, the family now, they still have that love of the natural world, and that's what they wanted to hopefully encourage in school children and adults alike that come to visit the museum.
And we're in a classroom within the museum right now. That's where we're recording. How do you guys use this classroom?
Oh, we use it all the time, and it is fantastic. As an adult, I just want to sit in here and play. I love this room. We actually have 3 classrooms. We have the salamander room, and if you love natural history and you love those kinds of books, that may be familiar. There's the book, The Salamander Room. This is the maker space, which is where we do our STEM learning, and then then we have Venture Lab, which is for a little bit of the older group of children. And we have, normally, we have going through the things with Corona right now.
Of course.
But normally we have field trips, and they can book their classes with the field trips. And it's everything from learning about weather patterns to dissecting a cow eyeball, a bovine eyeball. There's a lot of every little intricate that you can get into, and the teachers can decide what best works with their curriculum and what they need for educating their children in their class. Right now we are doing homeschool classes, and we are also doing classes that you can book just your family, bring your family to come and take. And I think that's great because it's a way that people can come during this time but still observe social distancing, and it's a chance to have your kids have that hand-on experience but feel safe while doing it. So we're still doing that, and I know we're offering those classes on Tuesdays and Thursdays.
Okay. And obviously we're in a unique time, so some of the questions that I ask you may pertain to prior to COVID, right?
Yeah.
But what percentage would you say of the visitors that come here are locals versus travelers coming on trips to the destination?
Well, we're still figuring out the best way to track that, because we've only been open for about a year, and so we're still figuring out our best way to track that. But we still get a lot of people. I think we are really well situated right here on the I-65 corridor, so we can pull people in from large metropolitan areas that are around us. We get people from Nashville, we get people from Birmingham, from Atlanta, from all over the Southeast. We're blessed to be in a great area with a lot of other really amazing attractions. So people who are visiting the Space and Rocket Center for a day, they can come and just drive 20 more minutes and come and visit us also.
Yeah.
And so we get a good mixture of people who are local and people who are not. I spend a lot of time downstairs in the exhibits because I manage the exhibits, and I've had people tell me, hey, we drove up for the day from Birmingham. We drove up from the day for Atlanta, and it always feels good because they have a great experience. I've even had a couple of them tell me that they've gotten memberships with us, and they're planning to come up again and again because they've had such a wonderful time. So that, I think, speaks really well to the quality of our exhibits. If someone who lives 2 hours, 3 hours away wants to buy a yearly membership and plans to come to visit us over and over again.
That's great. And I know that for a long time, you guys, you were an older museum, and then you've obviously gone through some really great updates and new build-outs here. So what would you say to destinations or museums within destinations trying to decide whether it makes sense to do this big overhaul, because obviously it's expensive?
Yeah, it is. It was a big decision for our board to make. They could have chose at that point in time to, when it was time to make that change, they could have chose just to, freshen up the paint, put new carpet into the original museum and keep going because it was successful. But they decided to invest in the community, and they decided to invest here in North Alabama and in Decatur, and because we know that this area is special and there's a lot to draw people to this area. And so, we knew that there was that need. We knew that there wasn't a natural science museum like this in a very close area, and we knew it would succeed. So we decided just to go for it. And I think, hopefully, I think that we have made the right choice.
Great. And you guys were closed for a time during COVID.
We were.
You're reopened.
Yes.
What are the unique challenges that you're dealing with now that you're reopened?
Well, of course, it's making sure our visitors feel safe. A museum is, by definition, interactive. It's going to be, any museum you go to is going to be interactive. So finding a way to keep that heart of a museum, but making sure that your guest still feels safe. And so I think we've done a really great job of that. We have, of course, signage posted in every room to remind people to wear their mask and to observe social distancing. We've taken a few of our different interactives offline, and with the hopes that as things change and get better, we can bring them back. And then there's some interactives that are really popular that we've made changes to make sure that people feel safe. Our most popular interactive, 100%, is our hollow sand table. And this is where you can we project different biomes, a desert biome, an Arctic biome, a topographical map, and people can build mountains, they can make rivers, they can make it rain, they can even build volcanoes and make magma overflow from the volcanoes. Well, we provide gloves, sanitizer. We make sure that it's only one family group at a time when they're using the sand table. And so far, it has gone great. And all of our customers have been really happy that we put that thought into our hollow sands table.
That's what I was going to ask you is feedback from customers. They're feeling good about it.
So far, only great feedback. And we really take that to heart. We listen to what our customers say, and we want to provide the best experience for them.
Great. Cara, I can tell you're passionate about the exhibits. It's good that you're running the exhibits down there because I can tell you love it.
Thank you so much. I appreciate speaking with you today.
Yeah. How can people find the museum?
Well, we are easy to find because, like I said, we're right off of the I-65 corridor. We're here in Decatur.
How about online? Those listening out of range.
Excellent. Well, that is cookmuseum.org. That is our website. And when we're really active on Facebook and we're active on Instagram. I love our Facebook posts. We put up a lot about interesting things that we're doing each week. Like I said, those classes. And we also put fun facts up. And whenever we do something neat or interesting with our fish or with our insects on display, we always try to share something cool. So we're pretty active on those social media accounts.
Great. And for those of you listening, if you want to see a great way to make sure that you're managing your social media well for a museum or another attraction within your destination, I would definitely check out their social pages.
Thank you so much.
Thanks a lot, Cara. It's good to have you.
Thank you.
You guys, I have been working on something for the last 6 months that has been such a giant project, but I'm so proud of it. I'm excited to announce that I've just released my book. It's called Touch Points, and it's the Destination Marketer's Guide to Brand Evaluation and Enhancement. And it is a comprehensive guide for destinations to look at their brand, evaluate what you've done, and make a very clear and detailed plan of action of how to fix it. And look, I'm biased, right? Because I wrote it, but I think it's so good. I think it's a great guide, and I'm really, really happy with how it turned out. And I wanted to tell you guys about it. It's available on Amazon. Search Touch Points by Adam Stoker, and you'll be able to get that book for your destination. And I think it's going to be, especially for anyone that is trying to look at their brand holistically, this is the book for you. So check it out.